Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we will be doing the camera review of the Poco M5. So Poco M5 is the latest smartphone under the budget category launched by Poco in India and also globally. Now this device is powered by the MediaTek Helio G99 octa-core processor. It's a newer chip, it's a 6 nanometer chip, and it is a pretty good powerful chip in the mid-range category. Now this has a triple camera setup. It has a 50 megapixel triple camera setup. So let's see how good the camera experience is on this device and how good the device is for the price segment it is being offered. So let's get started with the camera review. So before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's begin. So first let's have a look at the hardware offered. So you get a 50 megapixel Samsung's ISOCELL JN1 sensor with f1.8 aperture, that's the primary camera. Then you get a 2 megapixel macro sensor and a 2 megapixel depth sensor for portraits. So there is no ultra wide angle camera being offered here. Now on the selfie camera, you get an 8 megapixel selfie camera with f2.0 aperture. So that's the camera hardware of the Poco M5. So let's see how good the camera experience is. So first let's have a look at the daylight captures. From the daylight captures, you can see that the Poco M5's primary 50 megapixel camera is able to produce good images which are colorful and vivid and also quite detailed for the price segment. The brightness levels are also good, and these are good images for social sharing as well. The images are slightly on the cooler tone though. The dynamic range looks quite good, and there is an option to toggle the auto HDR mode as well. The sharpness levels are also quite good for a phone in the budget segment. The sky colors are also done pretty well. Overall, looking at the daylight captures, there is hardly anything to complain here considering the pricing, and the images have come quite good. The phone misses out on the ultra wide angle camera. Now moving on to the close-up images, here you can get good results with a 50 megapixel camera. The images have good details, the sharpness levels are also acceptable, and colors are also quite well. There is no saturation issues here as well. There is also a macro mode available with the 2 megapixel shooter which you can toggle from the settings. The shooter does decent macros in good light or bright sunlight, but in artificial or low light condition, the macros are pretty much noisy. Even in daylight macros, there is still noise and sharpness levels are not so great. So the macro performance is quite average, I would say. Now moving on to the portraits, the Poco M5 produces portraits which are good detailing, and skin tones are also quite good too. The sharpness levels are also good for a budget device. The edge detection works pretty well in most scenarios and shouldn't be an issue. Overall, the portraits have come quite good. Now moving on to the low light images. With indoor artificial light, the camera can do decent photos and noise is also kept to minimum. The sharpness levels are also quite acceptable here. When light drops further, you can see noise creeping in, and this is more or less evident in the photos. In extreme low light condition, you should be turning on the night mode, but unfortunately the results aren't so great, and you can see it on low on sharpness and quite often blurry in nature too. The night mode isn't that impressive. This is definitely not a camera for low light photography. This could be also improved to an extent with software updates. Let's move on to the selfie camera. The 8 megapixel camera produces good results. The skin tones are good and quite natural too. But at the same time, you can see it has an overexposure issue at times. You can also turn on the beauty mode. The sharpness levels and the dynamic are also good for the pricing which is being offered. Since selfies are more of a personal choice, you can judge based on the selfies. The portrait selfies also came out decent. Although edge detection isn't perfect, but with a complex background, it does misses out on few edges, but it is manageable. Now moving on to the video recording, the rear camera can record videos in just 1080p resolution at 30 fps. There is no EIS offered, and hence it is not recommended for moving footages. The colors are quite good though, and sharpness levels are okay. The dynamic range also looks quite decent though. So that was a video recording. It is not having EIS. That's one of the things which Poco can improve with software updates. So this is the video recording taken using the front camera on the Poco M5. It has an 8 megapixel shooter, so you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is, and also the audio output from the front camera, which is recorded in 1080p resolution. So that was the camera review of the Poco M5. So summing up, how good is the camera on the Poco M5 for this price segment? Now the primary camera, that's a 50 megapixel camera, produces good results in daylight conditions. The close-up images also turned out to be quite well. The macros were kind of average, although I wouldn't say these are great macros. They are manageable if you're taking macros in bright sunlight. Now the portraits are also quite good. The selfies are kind of above average performance. And now video recording quality is good, but there is no EIS being offered. And something which needs improvement is the night mode. Not exactly low light photography, but extreme night mode, the photos were not so great. That can be fixed with software updates. So all in all, we would say the Poco M5 is a decent shooter in this price segment. The primary camera is definitely good for most part, except for the low light, and the selfie also came out decently well. So that was our experience with the Poco M5's camera. So what do you guys think about the camera on the Poco M5? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Nirmal signing off with a camera review of the Poco M5. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.